Good evening, everybody, and welcome here to race number 14 of the season for the Elite Racing League MegaDriver86 series. It is playoff race number 3, elimination race number 1. About 3 weeks ago, 14 drivers began their journey here in the playoffs, and today the end of the road will come to 5. Only 9 will move on to the second round of the playoffs. Seth Cole here alongside of Tom Bourne. And Tom, the paperclip short track of Martinsville is where we're going to be determining the eliminations. It's got to be a lot of pressure for not only the guys that come in ahead of the cut line, but the guys behind the cut line as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. If you thought last week was exciting, I feel like this race is going to be 10 times better. Martinsville's always a tough track, even when tempers aren't flaring and it's not a cutoff race. It's always an interesting track. A lot of bumping and banging, a lot of hard racing throughout. So let's see what happens tonight.
A big thing coming into this race was how many people were going to be in the field. And we have 24 drivers that are scheduled to take the green flag, which makes it really interesting for those drivers that are just above the cut line and just below the cut line. If we look from 4th in the standings, Ethan Burrill, all the way down to 13th in points, Joshua L. Adams, there's only about, I think it's 36 point separation there. A lot of opportunity for drivers to move their way in or to fall out, depending on how the cards fall here at Martinsville.
Yeah, and it's gonna be fun to watching all the 4th through 13th battle their way through. I know Josh Adams has to win if he wants a chance to move on to the next round. But you have people like Damien Leninger, I'm drawing a blank here. Stephen McGough, Tyler Riggs, Ethan Burrill, Ryan Lutz. You got even Gerald Campbell, who's sitting up at the higher end of the points. They still need to finish well to get in.
As of right now, only 3 drivers are absolutely worry-free, knowing they'll move on to the round of 9. Tate Lytle, who won last week at Kansas, David Tooker, who won 3 weeks ago at Watkins Glen, and Chad Frankenfield comes into this race already locked in on points. He's got 44 points between himself and the cutoff line, so there's no way he can fall outside of the top 9. But you mentioned about Ethan Burrell. He's going to have to be running somewhere in the top 15. Jared Campbell has to be running in the top 10 for them to be making it in via points. And one driver that we're probably going to highlight quite a bit in this race, based on past races this season, is Tyler Riggs. He is tied with Kendall Noah Player for that final spot right now, tied for 8th, which technically would be 8th and 9th. And Riggs started out the season with a win at the only other short track we've been at. That was at Lucas Oil. He also won at Richmond. That's where his 2 wins are at. Tracks that are somewhat similar in the style of racing you need to apply to Martinsville. Is this the place where he's going to be able to get it done?
Yeah, I was talking to Tyler last week, and he said that he had this track circled. I don't think he was expecting the speed from the rest of the field, just by practice times. But other than that, I definitely see him being a player in the outcome of this race. If not a winning speed car, definitely a top 5 to top 10 car.
Interesting, too, you look back at the 2 past races of this round of the playoffs, and the driver that has started on the pole has gone on to win the race. Tooker at the Glen, and last week Tate Lytle at Kansas. So at a track where track position is so important, like Martinsville, you got to think that those guys that we're highlighting, like Leninger, like Riggs, like Rucker, Kendall Noah Player, Rexing Clark, they need a good qualifying result today. They need a good starting spot to stay ahead of all the mayhem that we're kind of expecting is going to happen in the early stages of this race.
Yeah, as you know, there's 45 seconds left in qualifying. The field is sort of starting to shape up. You got Lutz on the pole right now, unofficially. Ethan Burrell 2nd, Leninger 3rd. So there's one of the guys that needs a good qualifying effort. Josh Adams, the guy that needs to win tonight, he's sitting 5th on the board as Riggs jumps up to 3rd. And you got Gerald Campbell rounding out the first 3 rows unofficially as Tooker jumps up to 4th now.
One thing too about getting good starting track position that we don't normally think of when we come to short tracks, but it is something that comes into play. If we do go into a long green flag run, more often than not, drivers that start up at the front of the field, it doesn't take very long and they catch the tail end of the field. And for a lot of these guys, these playoff contenders that are going to be starting up near the front, they're going to definitely have to be smart in how they maneuver through slower traffic at the tail end of the field or lap cars as the race goes on.
Especially with a field like this. Like you said, there's 23 cars starting this race. And if they go into a long green flag run, they're going to catch that field quick. Especially if there's a big drop off in times throughout the field. Now, the thing I'm worried about is, well, first of all, it looks like there's going to be more passing here tonight than we saw last week. But something I've seen in practice, there is not a lot of grip coming off these corners. I know Martinsville is accustomed for that, but it looks like there's less grip this race than there usually is.
And that, I think, will also lead to a lot of side-by-side racing potentially in the corners too. If someone makes a mistake, no doubt someone behind them is going to try and capitalize and drive it down to the inside. We basically, with watching the way these drivers were approaching the corners in practice, are anticipating quite a number of yellow flags in this event. And especially with what we talked about, the closeness of the points coming into this between drivers just above the cut line and just below the cut line, a bad day, a wreck that's not of your make, and you get involved in it, you have too much damage to continue on, it could really, at a track like this, spell the end of your playoff chances.
Yeah, especially because this is the last shot. This is the last opportunity they have to make it to that round of 9.
Ready to grid here, and we're going to actually show you on the side-by-side what the points look like coming into this. You can see highlighted in green, Lytle, Tucker, and Frankenfield. They're already locked in. Campbell and Burrell, they do have a chance to make it in via points. Obviously, they would love to be able to head into the round of 9 with another win under their belt, get more playoff points. But then you look there, Damian Leneger, he's only 5 points ahead of that cut line. Rucker's only 1 point. Player and Riggs, the two of them are tied for that final spot. And then you've got guys that still have a shot of getting in via points. Rexling's only 4 points behind the cutoff line. Joshua Clark's only 9 points back. Stephen Magot, 10. And as we mentioned, Joshua Adams basically in a must-win situation for that 88 after back-to-back tough weeks at both Watkins Glen and Kansas.
Speaking of Rexling, I don't think he's in the field.
No, you are correct. Rexling is not in the field, and neither is Rishav Kosla. So I guess it looks like there's going to be about maybe 7 drivers battling for 4 spots here, it looks like.
Frankenfield just reconnected, so it looks like he's going to miss the grid. But
he's already locked in.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to him. We got 1 to green this
looks
time.
Looks like right at the moment, the gap is going to be 9 points from Player and Riggs back to Clark. That'll basically be the big battle right now. But you got guys up here like Ryan Lutz starting on the pole. There were some other guys that were up near the top of the board, like the 2 car of Josh Robin. He's starting, I believe, in the, I think it's 10th position.
No, no, that's Johnny Thomas starting in 10th. But pace car's in.
Johnny Thomas, yeah, he's another guy.
We're underway.
Yes, we are. But, those guys there, they could play spoiler in this race. They could take a victory away from a playoff contender.
Oh, definitely. We already have contact going into 1. Speaking of Johnny Thomas, he was way up the hill. Looks like the 7 car of Joshua Personette almost got into him.
3 wide as Tyler Riggs went up in the corner, took her up to the wall, and Lediger's going to pass them both for 3rd.
And Riggs is not where he wants to be right now on that outside lane.
It may be a short track, but this is an awful lot like a super speedway. You get kicked to that outside line, and you have to hope that you can find a spot back in the inside line, as it looks like Lutz will clear Ethan Burrell for the top position. Best battle right now is going on for 5th between Riggs and Josh Adams.
Riggs really high going into turn 1. He's going to lose a lot of positions.
This is not what he needs to have happen to him, because the car right behind him, Joshua Clark, that is Clark almost got spun.
He saved it, though. Great save going down into 3.
Just lost a lot of positions because of that. He was up in the 9th position. He's now back to 16th after that little bit of contact.
Yeah, that's
there between himself and Riggs for the final playoff position.
So as we sit right now, it looks like everybody that has to do what they have to do is doing it. Josh Adams is coming up through the field to try and go for that race lead. He's already gained 2 positions since the start. We're only 5 laps in. Lutz is still pacing the field with Ethan Burrill about half a second back.
An issue back here with one of our playoff contenders. Andrew Rucker must have had something just happen because he went down the leaderboard. And that is one of the drivers that came in just ahead of the cut line by 1 point. To your point, just about everybody's doing what they have to do, with the exception there of the 64. I think now the battle is between him and the 28 for the final playoff spot, since Tyler Riggs and Kendall Noah Player are running much better than Rucker on the track.
Yeah, the 64 of Rucker, he just got loose off 4 and just pancaked the inside wall. Still going. Doesn't look like that damage is going to hurt him much. It might tighten up the car, if anything. But we'll see how that goes.
Right there for the 3rd position, Jared Campbell getting around Damian Leniger. So right now, with Ethan Burrill running in 2nd, Campbell in 3rd, the 2 of them would currently be locked into the next round in via points. Tyler Riggs runs in 8th, Kendall Noah Player in 10th, so they're doing exactly what they need to do. As far as the battle for that final playoff spot between Clark and Rucker, Clark is 15th, Rucker is in 21st. So that's 6 points that Clark would be able to make up on Rucker, but he is 10 points back behind the 64, so he needs to pick up more positions or hope that Rucker loses more.
Yeah, and right now Clark's sitting, like you said, in that 15th position, where Rucker's sitting in 20th. I'm not sure if that damage on Rucker's car is going to affect him. It doesn't look like it is, as he's still keeping pace with everyone else in front of him.
As of right now, it looks like position is going to be lost by Joshua Clark. Josh Robbins going to get around him for that position. And now Michael Goodman closing in. That would be a battle for 16th place. You look at a couple of guys that come into this race completely worry-free. We talked about Frankenfield coming into the server late, but you got Tate Lytle running in 11th. Just ahead of him in 7th is David Tooker. These guys come in worry-free. They know they're moving on to the next round. That's got to be a huge weight off their shoulders coming into a track as technically tough as Martinsville.
It definitely does. Now they can just sit back if they have a mistake or they, God forbid, get caught in an accident. They don't have to worry about getting back out on track. If the damage is bad enough, they can be like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I'm locked into the next round. Let's go. Let's go next week. But it's definitely, and they could even play spoiler in some of this. You can get David Tooker or Tate Lytle or even Frankenfield. I know he's only 2 laps down. You get one of those winning this race, that spoils a lot of things for people.
There's no question for you. I mean, we saw a lot of beating and banging of doors. We saw the front bumper used a little bit. But we've completed 14 laps under green. That's a shocker for me.
Yeah, especially in this type of atmosphere and this type of race. It's definitely a interesting way to start a race at Martinsville. But we got a good battle for 2nd going on right now between Ethan Burrill and Gerald Campbell. Campbell's moved up from that 7th position, and now he's running 3rd. As he's going to try and go to the outside.
Yeah, nothing doing there. He went up way too high. But yeah, to your point, he's been the one up here towards the front that has picked up the most spots. And he was trying to get a position away from Ethan Burrill there. And obviously we see there is no outside line at Martinsville, at least right at the moment. No rubber up there, no grip.
Yeah, I'm liking what, and caution's out.
Oh, and we've got a caution on lap 17. That's the 72s facing the wrong way. That's Brent Wetz on the front straightaway.
And it looks like he's going to have a little trouble backing up.
Yep. Facing 90 degrees, the opposite direction, and he's going to have to wait till everybody goes around him before he can get that car turned around, so he will definitely lose a lap at least. And everybody's coming to pit road here. No, they're not. Ryan Lutz stays out. Everyone from 2nd on back is going to pit. So might be a little bit of an issue there for the 66 on this restart, as he's the only one that is staying out under this caution.
definitely going to be fun to watch how that plays out. The only problem I see with the only advantage I see with Lutz staying out is he's got warm tires when everyone else has cold ones. Warm tires, you're gonna have more grip and everything, and possibly you're not gonna be sliding around as much off the start.
See what happened to Brent Wetz coming out of turn 4, was all by himself, and that wasn't too far ahead of the race leaders either. The race leaders, I think, were only a corner behind him. So very fortunate that that happened as soon as it did, because that's another thing that can happen at these short tracks. A car spins out ahead of the race leaders. They come around a blind corner, don't see them, and you could end up having some of your front runners all torn up.
Yep. So 2 people stayed out, and the second place car that ended up staying out is now on pit road. That's Ethan Reisner in the 86. So Lutz is the only one that's going to be on 20-lap old tires. Ethan Burrell came out second. Correction. Ethan Burrell came out first on pit road. Josh Adams came out second. He gained a position. Gerald Campbell came out third. Leninger fourth, and David Tooker came out fifth. So there's your first 3 rows when the restart happens.
All right, so this is going to be our first time seeing a restart since the initial drop of the green flag. If you're Lutz on old tires, what do you think? Inside or outside line for the restart?
Definitely inside line.
If that's what he chooses, it's going to be 3 Camrys, all nose to tail there, the 66, 37, and 88 on this restart. And looks like, to your point, yep, 66 is going to take that inside line. One driver we should highlight with him where he's restarting, Stephen Magot is now up in the 8th position, a driver that came into this one 10 points behind the cut line, so we'll see how he does gaining some track position on these pit stops. Pace car is going to peel off. We're getting ready to go back green on lap 23.
Green flag in the air, and Lutz gets an amazing start. Looks like Josh Adams is going to dive it down into his second spot underneath Ethan Burrell. And we have great battles going on through the field. And, ooh, Adams gets it. Oh, Adams gets turned. Big wreck.
A little help there from Leninger, and there's a live ball. Riggs is in it. Up and over Rucker. That's a playoff contender.
Stephen Magot in it. Tyler Riggs, Josh Adams.
Goodness. That's Andrew a lot Rucker. Of playoff drivers.
Wow.
Right there.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I don't think Josh is going to be too happy.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, it looked like, just live action, it looked like he drove the corner a little hard, came up into Ethan Burrell, but he definitely got help in spinning out from the 12 of Leninger. You can see front-end damage on the 64. Tyler Riggs there with a lot of damage. Now, the only thing that I would state with the damage we're seeing on these race cars is you can rip the whole front end off, have it look like a modified, and still have it maybe running up to speed, being a short track like Martinsville. So they're not completely out of it yet, but you got to think that this definitely takes away some of the competitiveness that these cars would have had at the start.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to watch out for the oil and water temps now if that happens. I know Andrew Rucker went over on his lid. I don't know if he's still running. He's not. At least I don't think so. He's on pit road right now.
Just a replay. So yeah, it looks like the 88 got a little hot into the corner. The car just kind of went straight, and then Leninger never lifted.
You know what? And I think that has something to do with the new tires. No, I saw it the other day in official races. If you go too hot into the corner, you're just gonna slide. You're not gonna be able to turn or anything, and that's it. Game over.
It's hard to tell who it was that flipped over the 64. I think it might have been the 11 of Matthew Weeks or the 32 of Dustin Doer. I'm not 100% certain, though.
Someone flipped over the 64. I thought the 64 was the only one that flipped over.
Was, but I think he got hit from behind. I think that's
Yes,
how
that
he
was
flipped.
the 32 of Dustin Doer.
Okay.
He was the one that hit him in the back to send him over. Rucker is not pleased in the chat, as he is voicing his displeasure.
Not surprised. We're going to take an onboard here with Rucker and see just what he saw.
I'll tell you
Everybody's
right now what he
stacked up,
saw
and
was ground sky.
Rucker came into this only 1 point ahead of the cut line, so this is going to be good news for guys like Mago, Joshua Clark, guys that were trying to make it in via points. The hardship so far early on for the 64 car.
Well, pace car is back in, and we are about to get racing again. Ryan Lutz back to the inside lane. Doesn't get good of a start as he did last time. Campbell stays underneath Ethan Burrill for that second spot as they run side by side off turn 2 into 3.
I think that the last couple of restarts, the 66 37, their teammates, I think they've tried to work it out where Lutz gets a good start and Ethan Burrill is able to tuck in behind him. But on the last restart, Joshua Adams kind of messed that up, and here on this restart, Jared Campbell's messing up that strategy.
Yeah, I don't think the team cars on restarts really working out right now.
Their other teammate, David Tooker, just moved up into the 4th position, highest he's been running today. And if we look right now at the battle for points, Joshua Clark is up in the 9th position with Rucker currently 6 laps down, I'm sorry, in the 24th position. That would move Rucker out and Joshua Clark into the top 9.
Oh boy, we're only 32 laps in.
Exactly. Yeah, a long ways to go. Anything can still happen.
Yeah. A guy that I've watched slowly work his way through the field, last week's winner, Tate Lytle. He started in the 18th spot. He's up to 6th right now.
Tate Lytle has really proven himself a good speedway racer. He ended up winning back at Michigan just before the playoffs began, of course, last week at Kansas. So definitely now being able to be a little bit more aggressive, get a little bit more familiar with how short tracks work, already being locked into the next round. And another driver that currently is kind of making up some ground despite getting involved in that last wreck, Tyler Riggs, currently in the 15th position. Looks like that car is still up to speed as he's trying to get by Kendall Noah player for 14th. So at least that car is still running, looks somewhat competitive, which is kind of what he needs it to be since he's in such a critical position, tied with Kendall Noah player for that final playoff spot coming into this race.
Yeah, he's missing a few body pieces, but other than that, looks like it's still decently fast. Speaking of Kendall Noah player, he's sitting right in front of him in that 14th spot.
We haven't talked about him yet because he was 2 laps down early on, but Chad Frankenfield actually, I believe, got the lucky dog on that last yellow flag, so he is now only -1 lap and currently is the highest running of the lap machine. So if he sees another caution, then that would bring Frankenfield possibly back into the picture of possibly winning this race, and he was turning some good lap times in practice as well.
He was easily one of the fastest cars in practice as he sat second on the board. A guy that's staying right with him, though, he was involved in that wreck. He kind of caused the whole thing. Josh Adams, he's the second car a lap down. He's right on Frankenfield's back bumper. Doesn't look like the damage is affecting him that much.
Just a little bit of a ruffle there on the front end of that race car. He didn't get a whole lot of the heavy contact that we saw in the latter portion of that wreck. And as you mentioned, this is the battle within the battle. This is the battle for the free pass position between the 15 and the 88.
Personally, I think every battle Josh Adams is going to go through is the battle for everything. Just because he knows how much he needs to win this race coming in on the bottom end of the chase grid. But if he was on the lead lap right now, he'd be sitting, right outside that top 10. So it doesn't look like his car's that bad.
I think he would be running around the 12th position right now if he were on the lead lap. Looking here at this battle, it's a three-way battle for the 6th position. Damian Leniger is going to take the spot. A couple of guys here that one of them, I believe, is making his first start in the season. We've seen the 6 of Logan Shea in the past couple of weeks. Josh Robin there in the 2. And we were talking about guys like Robin, like Shea, and Ryan Lutz leading this race who could be spoilers, non-playoff drivers that could take a win. And Logan Shea got loose there off of turn 2. Saves it, though.
Great save by Logan Shea. So for the cars that going off what we were talking about a little bit earlier, the cars that got involved in that wreck, Tyler Riggs, Josh Adams, Andrew Rucker's still on pit road, obviously, and Stephen McGough. McGough and Riggs, they're both running just over a 21-second lap. The leader is about 0.2 quicker. You look at Josh Adams' last lap, he's only a 1/10 slower than the leader, and he's in traffic.
So obviously,
as the 15 gets into the 6, the 6 goes around. Adams gets more damage. Oh my!
Oh, there's a big plow right there. Someone just clobbered him.
Wow. What happened to Damian Leninger?
Adams now trying to back the thing up right in front of traffic.
All right. Well, this is eventful.
Talk about traffic control.
Yeah, we
Go got involved in that one, it looks like. Unless that's the damage from the earlier wreck.
It might be the damage from the earlier wreck. Then again, who knows?
Going to Leniger, you mentioned him getting caught up in that. He was only 5 points ahead of the cut line, so he's not out of the woods either.
Yeah, another guy that got involved in that. It looks like Joshua Clark in the 28.
Oh, man.
Actually, yeah, he got a little contact into the side of the 88 and went to the inside. I'm kind of intrigued to know. Oh.
Get himself that lap-led bonus point, looks like. You just see him mash the throttle to beat the 66 to the line there. He did lead the lap.
Well, there you go. Leninger just lost it off 4.
Back and see what happened. Rutgers actually returned back to the track. And I do believe with the 88 getting involved in it, I don't know if necessarily, we'll have to actually look back and find out, but with that contact between the 15 and the 6, I don't know if the 15 will be the recipient of the lucky dog or not.
I don't think the caution was for the 6. I think the 12 spun out way before the 15 getting into him. So we'll see how that plays out.
The look here at the contact between Logan Shea and Chad Frankenfield, and oh yeah, it looks like the 15 just got into the corner a little too hot. And you're right, yeah, the 12 of Leniger, it spun much earlier on out of turn 4, and I don't think Adams even saw him. He's the one that nailed the 12, and then Joshua Clark got a little bit of contact there, but I think he got through relatively unscathed.
Frankenfield is getting an EOL penalty, so apparently the caution was his fault. So it doesn't look like he's going to get back on the lead lap. Josh Adams stays out to get the wave around.
He had a pretty fast car there on that run, and we only had maybe about 15 laps on that run, so we'll see what he's going to be able to do. And I noticed on the top of the screen there for that replay that it was the race leaders just barely catching up to that wreck. They almost got collected up in it, so that was a close call for guys like Lutz and Campbell. Actually show you just exactly what they saw when they came out of turn 4.
They probably saw a roadblock and they're like, oh boy.
Saw smoke and they said, please don't be anybody in my lane. This is on board with the 66 of Lutz. And this is going to be coming through turn 3. You'll see the smoke up there on the top left. And then it's where are all these cars at? That's Logan Shea getting the car turned around in front of him. And there you can just see the parking lot, the Walmart parking lot on the front straightaway.
Well, if anything, it's like Times Square for me. Because I'll tell you right now, they don't go anywhere. And we're back green.
We are. Green flag is back in the air. Ryan Lutz ahead of Jared Campbell. Lutz has done a pretty good job here on these restarts of keeping everyone in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, for now. I think everyone's being a little patient. We got a great side-by-side battle for that third position as Tate Lytle gets a little loose off four. He's going to try and make that outside lane work. He's hanging with Ethan Burrow for that third spot as everybody fans out behind him.
37 right down on his passenger side door to try and get back to the throttle sooner off the corner. Ooh, he might have had to have lifted a little bit there. I think he's going to have to surrender third place. And look at, oh boy, the two drove it in deep of Josh Robin trying to take fourth place.
Everybody, I think that's what's getting a lot of people into trouble is people overdriving the entry to the corner. You saw it earlier with Josh Adams. You saw it on this last wreck with Chad Frankenfield. And even people that aren't wrecking, you see them driving it in way too deep. I know we're 54 laps in coming this time, but I mean, when is it gonna really affect everyone where they just drive it in too deep?
And you drive it in too deep, you overcook that right front, and it takes a long time to get it cooled back down. It's like the car doesn't want to turn at every other corner afterwards. We saw David Tooker with a nice save not too long ago, but he had to give up position to Joshua Personette. Personette now moves into 6th place. That's the highest he's been running today. And to kind of update some of our playoff contenders now after that, Damian Leniger is running back in 15th. Tyler Riggs just ahead of him in 14th. Mago in 13th. And to your point with Frankenfield getting that penalty, he's still one lap down in 20th.
Yeah, he's not even the first car lap down right now. Johnny Thomas is sitting in front of him for that lucky dog spot. But then again, it doesn't matter for Frankenfield. He's locked in.
Joshua Clark, who I think may have gotten a little piece of that wreck, but not much. He's now in the 12th position. So he's still running ahead of Andrew Rucker, who is still multiple laps down, 20 laps down, back in 23rd place. So as of right now, I think it still is Rucker out and Clark in, but I think that's really, at this point in time, the only change we've got in terms of the playoff picture, because Mago's not running high enough yet. He's in 13th, and obviously Adams, who took that wave around, he's mired back in the 18th position, waiting maybe for another caution to catch back up to the tail end of the field.
Yeah, I think that was the plan all along. He's got to wait for another caution. I'll tell you right now, though, with those 15-lap-old tires and everyone else, he's keeping pace with Johnny Thomas, with Chad Frankenfield. So if he does go a lap down, which the leaders coming off turn 4 now, he's sitting going down to turn 1. He'll be able to keep pace with the lap down cars, and he hasn't repaired any damage, and he's on older tires.
Lutz making a pass there on Matthew Weeks. Yeah, right now, as you see Lutz going into turn 3, Adams is just coming off turn 4, so he's not too far away from being put a lap down here under green flag conditions. Drop back a little bit further, and you got a couple of guys here that are non-playoff contenders, and after that last round of pit stops under caution, they're up inside of the top 10. Michael Goodman, a good run in 8th. Ethan Reasoner right behind him in 9th.
Yeah, it's good to see the non-playoff drivers that we really haven't been able to talk about these past couple weeks, or even throughout the season. Seeing them have a good run, especially at even at the expense of playoff drivers' problems. As it looks like Michael Goodman drives it a little deep into turn 1. Another guy, Logan Shea, we talked about him last week. He's having another good run today. He's got damage on the car, but I mean, I think everyone else does too, so that's nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, definitely a good run for him. He was involved in the last caution that we had, but still on the lead lap just outside of the top 10. Right now, that 10th position. A good run here for Kendall Noah Player. Obviously our Pocono winner came into this race tied with Tyler Riggs for the final playoff spot. Well, with Riggs running back in the 16th position, this is exactly where Kendall Noah Player needs to be able to move on to the next round.
as it looks like Ryan Lutz has checked out from the field. Gerald Campbell running in second. He's doing what he has to do. You said earlier he had to finish, I believe, in the top 10 to lock himself in on points, or top 15. Right now he's running in the second position. Ethan Burrell is running third. Tate Lytle, last week's winner, fourth. And the guy that making, I believe you said earlier, his first start on the season, Josh Robin, he started 19th. Tate Lytle, Josh Robin, both started in the 18th and 19th position. They're running 4th and 5th right now.
Very solid outings for the both of them. As of right now, it's looking like, you know, barring anything happening to Campbell or Ethan Burrell, we've got 5 drivers now that would be locked into the next round of the playoffs. The question mark still over Leniger, Kendall Noah Player, Tyler Riggs, Joshua Clark. You know, we still don't know yet the full extent of what Joshua Adams can do, because he's currently, oh, well, there's a caution, and I think he was still on the lead lap at the time.
Yes, he was. Just in front of the race leader.
Wow, so a very timely caution for him.
And it looks like Damian Leniger again.
He's on pit road.
He's oh, he blew his engine.
Oh, that's huge. Wow.
He blew his engine coming off turn 4 and stopped it on the front stretch, and that's a tough loss for Damian Leniger.
That could be to a point that you made earlier. You know, these cars out there sustaining damage, they have to keep an eye on their gauges, their water temps, their oil temps, because with the damage on the front, the car could run hot.
Especially when people don't have a front end. You know, one hit with that non-front end, and you're gonna, you know, hit something and send something through the roof.
You see it right in front of Richard Hines in the 87. You just saw the smoke come out from underneath. And so now, because of this, the ball is in the court of Stephen Magot to maybe try and pass Damian Leniger as far as making it into the next round.
Well, considering right now with Andrew Rucker being on track, the only car out of the race besides Damian Leniger is Brent Wentz. He's 41 laps down in the 24th position. Rucker is 23rd, 19 laps down. So right now, Leniger's in the 21st spot. Stephen Magot's in 13th. It's going to be interesting to watch that battle. Now it's really up to, like you said, now it's up to Stephen to just finish where he has to.
It all depends on where Leniger is going to officially finish. We got a number of lap machines that look like they'll pass him, like Logan Shea, Dustin Doerr, Matthew Weeks. So it looks like he may drop as far down as finishing in 22nd. Now the gap between him... Yeah, so the gap between he and Magot coming into this one was 15 points. So that would mean that Magot would have to pretty much finish up inside of the top 10 around the 8th position to points-wise past Damian Leniger. So it's kind of surprising that even though Leniger only had a 5-point advantage over the cut line coming into this, an engine failure may not take him out of playoff contention.
That's very true. And I'll tell you right now, I lost my train of thought. Wow. I'll tell you right now, this is not the last time we're going to see a caution.
No.
By the way, we're doubled up already.
Yes, we are. We're getting ready to go back green. These have been very short caution periods, which have kind of been nice. And Lutz going to get us back underway here. Lap 73, we're entering into the 50 laps to go range in a couple of laps.
Green flag back in the air. Ryan Lutz gets a good jump off the restart zone. Joe Campbell and Ethan Burrell holding tight right behind him. As it looks like Burrell gives Campbell a little shot into 3.
We got a car around. That's going to be Kendall Noah Player in the 94 out of turn 4.
Oh, my.
That's another playoff driver. Now, I don't think he hit anything, and I don't think anyone necessarily hit him, but he lost a ton of positions because of that.
Well, We will find out.
So our fifth caution and yet another playoff contender. And I wanted to go back real quickly, too, because when we were going back showing the replay, Tyler Riggs stayed out and led a lap. That says to me Riggs thinks his car is too damaged to get up there and battle for the win, so he's trying to get every bonus point he can.
It looks like, going back to the accident, it looks like Kendall Miller player just got a little help from Stephen McGough. And he did.
Look at it here.
He got hit decently well on that.
Oh, yeah.
On that left front. That might be something to watch, but I don't think it's going to be anything too major. From 87 of Richard Hines, the 32 piles in, the 5 of Alex Balvans. Well,
changes a lot of things there with the fact of both Riggs and Kendall Noah player coming in tied for that final playoff spot, and both have encountered issues here today now.
Don't mind the beeping in the background. I forgot to shut the page off.
It's like most of our race leaders decided to stay out. My assumption is that now entering into 50 laps to go, they're probably going to be good to go on fuel. They don't want to give up the track position, so I think they basically have decided that was our last pit stop on the fourth caution, and they're probably going to stay out no matter how many cautions we have near the end of this race.
Yeah, if you're up front, I think it's time. Yeah, you made your bed, now you got in it. I don't think you're stopping for the rest of the race. But you have people that, towards the back, like Tyler Riggs, like Joshua Clark, Josh Adams, just to name a few. I could see them pitting, 1 to 2 more times, depending on what cautions we have, just to maybe repair some damage or even just get fresh tires if we get that long green flag run to the finish.
The driver that benefited from that caution coming out gets the free pass is Chad Frankenfield, so he'll be back on the lead lap. Obviously, he's going to have to cut his way through a number of cars to get up to the front of the field, but it's, I believe, the first time today the 15 is actually being scored on the same lap as the leader.
Yeah, Frankenfield looks like he's gonna restart in the 14th position. Kendall Noah player and Stephen McGough right behind him. McGough getting that EOL penalty because of the caution.
As of right now, if my calculations are correct, it looks like Leniger still points-wise is in the top 9. Rucker has fallen out. Clark has moved in. That's really the only changes right now since the start of the race as far as drivers in and out.
Surprising there wasn't more changes, but the green flag is back in the air, and we have Ryan Lutz getting another good start. Campbell shoots in behind him in second. Ethan Burrow falls into third. Tate Lytle clears Josh Robbins for that 4th position as he falls back to 5th.
They are 3 wide further back. Adams to the inside of Goodman and Reasoner. Reasoner has to back out. Balvance around hard into the inside wall. That's around another caution.
Big wreck.
Endura was caught up in that along with Logan Shea.
Stephen McGough had a little damage too. It looks like he got into the 6 of Logan Shea as the 6 was going back across the track.
Hard to tell from live action if the 5 got a little help or if he just got loose off the corner, but that car bounced off the inside wall and shot right back up into traffic.
No, he looks like he went around all by himself, and that's a hard impact for the 6 and the 32.
None of our playoff contenders got involved in that one, with possible exception, as you said, Stephen McGough maybe getting a piece of it.
Yeah, he got a little piece of it. I don't think it's going to be much to hurt the car more than it already is.
Yeah, right there, you saw him get it with the left front just a little bit, and that was some hard shots as well for both Logan Shea and Dustin Dewar.
Yeah, thank God for safer barriers.
Absolutely. Catch some air after he hit that inside safer barrier. Well, and this is typical short track now. We get into the closing stages, and it's just the old saying, cautions breed cautions.
Yep. Looks like we have Michael Goodman, only car coming to pit road. He's going to drop that top 10 spot to pit. Interesting move. I know he's not in the playoffs or anything, but he was having a good run.
We look now as far as our playoff drivers that we were highlighting coming into this one. Right now, Joshua Clark is up in the 8th position. Tyler Riggs now up in 9th. And Kendall Noah Players in 13th. So right now, I think they still are in good shape to make it in via points. Damian Leniger is the big question mark because it looks like he's officially going to finish in the 23rd position. Rucker is just a few laps away from passing him for 22nd. So it's going to really be between Leniger and Stephen Magot. And as we mentioned, Stephen Magot, if Leniger falls to 23rd, he's going to have to finish 8th or better. And he's been involved in at least 2 of the wrecks so far today. So I don't really know if he's got an 8th place car.
Well, the good thing is the people in front of him have damage also. So it kind of evens out.
The other thing we should point out too, I mentioned the fact, I'm saying that Riggs is safe right now, and Kendall Noah Player is safe, and Joshua Clark is safe. But you got that 88 looming back there in 10th place. If Joshua Adams gets up here, he's going to leapfrog all those guys if he gets a win, and he would knock one of those drivers that I just mentioned out of the top 9.
Yeah, and like you were saying, Josh Adams leapfrogging them all them if he gets the win. For the amount of damage he has on that car, it is actually really competitive.
Restarting back, I believe, in the 11th position. We'll see if he can fight his way up into the top 10.
Pace car is in again.
Pace car is off. It's going to be 40 laps to go when we get the green flag this time.
Ryan Lutz picking that inside lane again. Green flag back in the air. He gets another great launch off the restart. Campbell can't clear Burrill as he clears him going down to 1. Burrill back to the inside. As Burrill gets loose on the inside.
So did Robin.
Wow. Tate Lytle going for that 3rd spot on the outside of the 37. As it looks like Josh Robin is under fire from David Tooker. Round 1, race 1 winner at Watkins Glen.
Back, you got some playoff contenders all battling with each other. They're Frankenfield, Adams, Clark, Riggs. This is from 8th back through 11th. Frankenfield's going to move up into the 8th spot, it looks like, and Adams continuing to try and charge his way to the front as well, now up into the top 10, and he'll move into P9.
Yeah, Adams just trying to follow Frankenfield through. Frankenfield doesn't really have damage, so if Adams can stay with him, I think he's trying to have Frankenfield clear path for him and just hopefully follow him through.
You got a battle going on for the 3rd position. Tate Lytle takes a peek on Ethan Burrill. Ooh, got a little loose there, maybe a little tight, couldn't tell through the center of the corner, had to lift, and he almost had Josh Robin into the back of him.
Oh, contact
there.
As Josh Robin goes underneath the 56, contact between the 56 and the 2.
15 around, Frankenfield, hard into the inside wall, just at the start-finish line.
Oh my.
Comes to a stop right on the start-finish line. He'll get the car refired. Pretty heavy-duty damage sustained on the front of that car. Yep, I don't think he got any help. That looked like that car just stepped out from underneath him.
Wow.
Up, I think, in the 8th position at the time.
He was in the 8th position, you're right.
Another playoff contender involved in yet another caution. Well, for Frankenfield, he came into this race already locked into the next round, but I'm certain he wanted to at least leave Martinsville with a decent finish.
Yeah, definitely. As Josh Adams, it looks like he's going to stay out on track. Gerald Campbell and Ryan Lutz, it looks like the only other 2 cars to stay out. Ethan Burrill is the first car to lead him down onto pit road. So that's an interesting move. And it looks like
that is an interesting move.
Stephen Magot stays out as well. He's going to be sitting in the top 5 now. So as they run, it looks like Magot is going to be in the chase.
With Leniger now down to 23rd. Rucker has actually passed him, so Leniger is down to 23rd. So to your point, up inside of the top 8, Stephen Magot would be into the next round of the playoffs. The question is, can he stay up there? And I'm surprised, too, with guys like Ethan Burrill and Tate Lytle coming to pit road, because I kind of thought back when we were around 50 to go that most of our top 5, 6, 7 had basically decided that was their last pit stop. So surprising to see some of these guys come to pit road, closing in on 30 laps remaining.
I think they're hoping for a long run to end it. I don't see it happening with the amount of cautions that we just had in a 20, 30 lap run. Burrell's going to restart 7th, though. I think he knew that if he came down pit road, he was going to bring a lot of cars with him. Like you saw, Tate Lytle, Josh Robin, Tyler Riggs, Joshua Personette. They've all been running right with him. So I think if he was coming down, I think they were going to do whatever the top 2 didn't.
Right there, the 19 of David Tooker was sitting on the front straightaway. I think he thought he had beaten the pace car off pit lane, but apparently did not, so he will be stuck 1 lap down. Free pass car, I think, was Dustin Dewar, but he was already multiple laps down, so this caution does not put him back on the lead lap.
Yeah, I believe this caution makes him 2 laps down now. So Tooker right now is the first car 1 lap down. Then you have Dustin Dewar 2 laps down. Frankenfield is still sitting on pit road 3 laps down. As looks like we are pace lights are out, and this should be interesting to watch, to say the least. I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on that 88.
They'll be getting the restart, it looks like, with 30 laps to go exactly. And I was looking here, too, at a number of these guys that are multiple laps down. Logan Shea right now 15 laps down, Balvin 7 laps down. I was wondering, does Rucker have a chance to get ahead of Leniger by 5 or 6 positions? But it doesn't look like in these closing stages that's going to be possible. So we'll see if Rucker has a ghost of a shot. Green flag back in the air.
As Ryan Lutz and Campbell both go single file. Josh Adams stays into 3rd as he'll fall single file behind them. First battle we have Stephen McGough and the 86 of Ethan Reisner. Looks like McGough is going to try and make the pass. Campbell loose off 4 as Ethan Burrell has no place to go. For that.
McGough right now, I think his strategy is just hold the bottom. I mean, this is a very important battle for him. He knows there's fresh tires behind him with Burrell and Robin and Goodman and Lytle. He has to try and hold them at bay and force them to go around him on the outside line because he cannot drop outside of the top 8. His playoff hopes depend on it.
Yeah, it looks like Lytle was stuck behind the 73 of Michael Goodman as he slides up the track now. Stephen McGough finally passes the 86 for position as Ethan Burrell now can battle. And that's not what McGough wanted. At contact. And
way up the track again. And caution.
73
caution
of Michael Goodman. Out of turn 4. He might have had some help. Yes, he did. Wow. Okay. The 81 Johnny Thomas just, I don't know what happened, but
we'll go back and see here.
I guess
I believe the 83 that really saved him because when he slid up the track, he lost some spots, but he only dropped back to 6th. He'll be on the outside line for this next restart, though, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Back and see what happened to Goodman.
The 31 on pit road. Interesting.
Campbell. Wow. Well, I mean, at this point, with a lot of drivers having issues here today, I think we can safely say he's going to make it. I mean, he had to finish, I think it was, in the top 10? I think he'll be able to still finish in the top 10, even with coming to pit road. So I think he's safe.
Yeah, I definitely think so, too. The farthest he can fall back on pit stops is in that 15th position. But right now, Richard Hines is on pit road. Joshua Clark's on pit road. Goodman stayed out. Kendall No Players on pit road. You have Stephen McGough on pit road also. So if Campbell comes out, which he's going to come out first on pit road, it looks like he's going to restart, I believe, in the 11th or 10th position.
Here's an interesting front row now. You've got Lutz, who has dominated this race all day long, but he's going to have the must-win driver, Joshua Adams, to his outside.
And I've known Josh for years, and I know he thrives in these situations. He knows how to get it done in the clutch, and it's definitely going to be interesting to watch him try and pass that 66. I believe we're going to have either 2 laps to green, or we'll be green this time. Lutz looks like it's going to go to the Okay, yeah, we're 2 to green still all this time. So it's going to be interesting to see if maybe Lutz can race his way in on points. Maybe he's going to help Adams out. Then again, that's another competitor, so who knows?
Campbell's going to be restarting back in 9th, so he's still up in the top 10, so he's still safe via points. Ethan Burrill has been up in the top 5 all day, so looks like he's going to move on via points. Joshua Clark needed to be running 10 positions ahead of Andrew Rucker, who had early issues. Right now, Clark's 11th, Rucker back in 21st, so that's like right on the cusp. Although I think Clark stayed out and led a lap, so he'd have that bonus point advantage. And as we mentioned, the battle now is basically going on between Leniger and Stephen Magot, and Magot needs to be up in the top 8 to capitalize on that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Now, personally, if I was Ryan Lutz, with the way Josh Adams' luck has been, I would try and help him out as much as possible to win this race, because that would eliminate someone who's had more consistent runs. That would straight up eliminate them. As
The only thing I would question about that is the car that would probably get eliminated would be the 28 of Joshua Clark, and that's a teammate to the 66.
That's true. Big block going down to turn 1 between the 88 and the 37. 37 to Ethan Burrill gets underneath the 88. Doors him going down to 3. As that opens
front of the 88 actually went up in the air after that contact.
I don't think it's the first time he's been up in the air, though.
Oh, I agree.
As the 2 gets into him also.
Robin overdrove the corner, puts the 80 up on the up almost into the wall. And you look back at the last 3 weeks for the 88 of Joshua Adams. You go back to Watkins Glen, he got involved in an early wreck, had nose damage, never was really able to recover. You go back to Kansas, he was put up into the wall after Frankenfield tried a slide job for the lead, never recovered from that. So it's just been a horrible round 1 for Joshua Adams.
Yeah, and it's not like he hasn't had bad cars either. He's had speed at all these tracks. I mean, you saw it when Frankenfield when Frankenfield got him in the wall coming off 4 at Kansas. He was leading.
While there off of turn 2, as up front, you got a couple of teammates nose to tail. Lutz in the lead, Burrill currently in 2nd. And you got Josh Robin, Tate Lytle. So right now you got 2 drivers that are basically locked in. You got 2 drivers that are non-playoff contenders trying to win. I believe for Lutz, yeah, he's actually looking for his first win on the season. The closest he was to winning a race was back at Michigan. He finished 2nd to Tate Lytle. So Lutz, who also was up there battling for a final playoff spot at Daytona, right now looking like he is the man to beat as he's searching for his first checkered flag on the season.
Yeah, Lutz has been the class act of the field as we're coming to, looks like 10 laps to go 15 laps to go this time. And that is off today. Looks like Gerald Campbell gets by Josh Adams. So he's back into the top 5, and he has fresh tires. Let's see if those fresh tires actually do something.
Oh, Adams just turned Personette! Right up into the wall goes the 7. Hard to tell what happened there, but it almost looked like the 88 turned dead left.
Oh my.
Oh boy, they say short tracks breed short tempers. It's hard to tell if that was intentional or not. Don't know if there was previous contact between Adams and Personette, but the 88 came right down into the right rear quarter panel of the 7. We'll have to go back and see, but it's really hard to tell.
I think he thought there was enough room to jump in between the 7 and the 86, and there just wasn't. Going back to the lap before, it doesn't look like.
Well, they had contact. No, they had contact off of 2.
Not much though. Not enough to send him around or anything.
Richard Hines slide through. David Tooker was up and into the wall. Actually, Hines did spin out.
Well, this changes a lot of things.
There's probably a lot of people watching this, and they can all be the referees on that and then basically decide what that was all about. But obviously, that I don't know if that right there might necessarily. I think that would take Joshua Adams out of the hunt now.
Yeah, it looks like Josh Adams is on pit road, and I don't think he's going to be contending for a win anymore.
Before that caution came out, we had an interesting battle going on between two drivers that are nowhere near each other, Joshua Clark and Andrew Rucker. Rucker is actually past Frankenfield for 20th, and Clark has that extra bonus point for a lap led, but he needed to be running 9 positions ahead of Rucker, and at that time he was only running 9 positions ahead. Now he's going to restart in 10th with Rucker back in 20th, so an opportunity for Clark to pick up some spots late in this race. And if we go back to Stephen Magot, he's only 5 positions away from the spot he needs to be in. He's 13th. He needs to finish 8th to pass Leniger.
My goodness. Too much.
This is all going to be happening with less than 10 to go.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to finish in the 125 laps. I think definitely we're going to have a green-white checker, if anything.
That has been the class of the field. He is going to start alongside teammate Ethan Burrill. We're getting the 1 to green signal now. You got Riggs and Player. They're in 7th and 8th, so they're looking in good shape. Campbell's been able to work his way back up to 5th after coming to pit road not too long ago.
You know,
so
a
he
guy
looks like he's safe.
I'm not going to lie. A guy I'd watch on this restart is the 2 of Josh Robin. This is the highest he's been all race long.
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. His first start. We don't know how he races. Especially in these types of situations. 9 laps to go this time by green flags back in the air. Ryan Lutz with another amazing start. Josh Robin trying to clear the 37 per second as trying to bring Gerald Campbell through. The 2 clear.
Crossover though.
Crossover. Caution's out.
Caution. Another caution, and I think that might have been
David Tucker.
Yeah, I thought it was. It looked like that was the car falling down, and I think
Stephen
Rucker
Magot
got a piece of it. Personette was involved.
Stephen Magot, Joshua Clark, all involved. Magot hard
a lot of damage there on Clark.
Rucker involved also.
That's huge for Clark because Rucker actually just picked up another spot on track. He just got around Balvance for 19th. So Clark could maybe be out, and Rucker still, despite all the problems he's had, might be in, depending on where Clark finishes.
Yeah, Joshua Clark, it looks like he's going to be in the 11th position right now. Stephen Magot on pit road. Tough break for him. Just got turned to the outside wall. As, yeah, you were saying, Andrew Rucker, he's going to probably finish in the 19th position. He doesn't have enough time to catch Josh Adams unless they have green-white checkered, but I don't remember how many green-white checkers they have.
Only one. Oh, wow, Magot. Oh, holy cow, Magot caught a lot of air.
Yeah, he turned into a plane real quick.
Yeah, he did. Now, the question is for Rucker, I mean, he was the one, I think, along with Tucker, that shot the 83 up into the air. Will he be able to continue?
Andrew Rucker is driving. He just drove his car into pit road.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but a car that blew up and a car that has been in, I think, 3 wrecks, that one probably the most violent so far, might still be making it into the round of 9.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is. And that's just how Martinsville plays out sometimes.
Yeah, it's perseverance at its finest. You know, a lot of guys, a lot of chase guys have had trouble. I think the only car without damage on it right now is that 66 of Ryan Lutz and maybe the 2 in the 37.
The most part, maybe 30. The top 5, I think, have kept it clean for the most part.
37's got some back end damage. Campbell's got a little damage, it looks like, but nothing out of the ordinary. So this is going to be interesting. It looks like we're going to restart with, I believe, 3 to go.
Right now, the battles, it looks like, for drivers trying to make their way in or stay in. I think Stephen Magot, this effectively takes him out. Joshua Adams is effectively out as well. So right now, it's between Joshua Clark and Andrew Rucker, and it's currently, I think Leniger, because of all this, I think he is going to make it in, because Rucker, I don't think, can pick up 2 more positions. So with a blown engine and Mago currently out of this, I think that Leniger is actually going to make it into the next round.
That's amazing. He's going to finish 23rd, 56 laps down at least. Pace car is in, and we are about to go green, hopefully for the final time. The 2 and the 66 both get a good start. The 2 is clear of the 37 going down to turn 1, and it is go time. He's right on the back bumper of the 66.
Top 2 are non-playoff contenders. They're just out there trying to win, but looked like Robin may have overdriven just a little bit, and he opens the door up. Oh, and he's way up the track there in the 2 machine. Way back to 5th is where he's going to fall. One driver who got a spotlight here is Joshua Clark. Where is he at? Right now he's in 11th, trying to pass Richard Hines for 10th.
He just passed Richard Hines for the 13th spot. 11th spot. Wow. White flag in the air this time for Ryan Lutz, class act of the field.
Is moved up to 19th. I think Clark's got to pick up at least one more position here on this final lap.
And he's not close enough to the 81 of Johnny Thomas. Clark is sitting in 10th. Rucker's 19th, but Clark has that lap lead though. So they're going to be tied going into the cutoff.
Sure where this is going to be as far as a tiebreaker between these two, because neither one of them has a victory this season. Wow, this is going to be interesting. Got 9 position separation. They came into this race 10 points between them. Clark got that lap-led bonus point. So who between the two makes it in? But a big win there for Ryan Lutz.
It's definitely going to be interesting. Seth, do you mind doing interviews? This is a bad call that I'm getting right now.
Certainly can.
All right, thank you. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next Monday.
All right, sounds good. So as Ryan Lutz does his burnouts here, his first win on the season, you go back to the last few weeks, you go back to his runner-up finish at Michigan, you go to his almost near win at Daytona to make it into the playoffs. So close on so many occasions, and even though he may not be in the playoffs, a sweet victory for Lutz. Dominated this race here today. And again, a track where track position is so important, and I believe we are now 3 for 3 in the playoffs of the pole sitter going coast to coast, getting the pole and taking the win. Ethan Burrell is going to finish the day out in second. He, along with Jared Campbell, who finishes third, they are locked into the next round via points. Tate Lytle, our winner from Kansas last week, in fourth. Good showing there by Josh Robin. He was so close to maybe picking up that victory, but just a little anxious in turns 1 and 2, slipped back to fifth. Tyler Riggs came in with pressure. So did Kendall Noah Player. They were tied for the final playoff spot. They'll finish 6th and 8th, bookending Ethan Reasoner, a solid outing for the 86 car. Johnny Thomas, a solid run in 9th, and Joshua Clark there in 10th. This is the big question about whether or not Joshua Clark is going to be able to move on to the next round. Rucker is going to finish, as you'll see here, in the 19th position. And that is 9 points. You add on the 10th point gained with the lap led by Clark, and the two of them came into this race separated by 10 points exactly. I don't know how Elite does their point system. I don't know if it comes down to best finish of that round of the playoffs, if it comes down to the regular season points. We're going to have to wait for the official word on that. As you see the rest of the finishing results here, Chad Frankenfield was already locked into the next round via points. And Damian Leniger, despite the engine failure, because Stephen Mago finished in 16th, Leniger, despite the DNF, he will be moving on to the next round of the playoffs, the guy that got that last-minute win at Daytona. Well, we will fill you in just a moment on the news of who is moving in that final playoff position. But for now, we're going to talk to our top 3 finishers, and let's start things off with Jared Campbell, who brings it home in third. Earl, Seth Cole up here in the Flatout Racing Network Studios booth. You got me?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
A solid outing for you here. Obviously, I think you had to finish in the top 15, and you were basically locked into the next round on points. But we saw you go to pit road with about 30 laps to go, gave up quite a bit of track position as a result. What was the strategy call there?
I mean, it was as you said. I mean, I was locked in with with top 15, and when I looked at it, there was only 15 cars on the lead lap. So I was like, well, I'm not going to win it this way. Let me try to see if maybe the stars align, go down pit road, get some tires, and see if I can make a late run. And I did. I went for second, but I don't know if I was going to get to the 66. He was just so quick. He just had this setup down pat, and love this track, but yeah, I just need a little bit more, I think.
Talk about the restarts. I mean, everybody is up each other's gearboxes there. Obviously, the 66 controlled the restart. So, how difficult was it to try and figure out the braking line, not only of the car in front of you, but the car behind you going into turn one?
I mean, if you're up front, it's pretty easy. I mean, there's no one to really judge. You just gotta make sure no one's gonna run over back of you. So, I mean, it's you just gotta judge. You gotta have your breaking points, and you gotta realize, even though you're on new tires, you gotta still take a look. Everyone's so focused on the guy in front of them, guy inside of them, behind them. It's real easy to lose where you're at on the track. So as long as you're able to keep an open mind as far as, hey, this is where I'm at, this is where I need to break, and be able to judge the people in front of you. A lot of things to do, but if you can do it correctly, I mean, you can usually pick up one or two spots, and at a track that's very difficult to pass on, that's sometimes the key.
You move
So,
on.
Gerald, I've actually got a question here for you. At what point are you just riding around in traffic where you just kind of want to get in the back bumper of a guy and move him out of the way? I mean, at what point do you say it's time to go, and at what point do you say, hey, we're just going to ride here and just lay around?
I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you gotta. Yeah, it depends on if the guy's holding you up. If the guy's running decent lap times, you're not really able to get around him. Like when I was behind the 66 in the first few runs, I was able to stick right onto the back bumper of him, but it's hard to, you don't want to just give that bumper to get around him. But when it's coming to the late stages like this and it's time to go, especially whenever you have new tires and you pit late like I did, it's kind of a situation that you have to judge. All right, how long can I stay behind this guy before I have to start worrying if I'm going to run out of time? So it's one of those things that you kind of have to judge that. It's harder to get up to a guy than it is to really try to pass them once you're underneath them. So you gotta be able to get around them when you get to them.
Man,
I
I
found
love
my
your
voice changed and I
responses.
sounded like Matt Rod. That was amazing. I don't know how I managed to do that.
Yeah, but definitely, I love your
But
responses. Some responses I get are just, I want him out of my way, and you actually give me the whole novel of, hey, this is the reason I want to get him out of my way. So I love
Yeah,
that.
I don't like getting people out of the way. I'm one of those that even if you're a lap car, sometimes I enjoy just the battle of it. And in the early stages of the race, I won't move someone out of the way because I like to find the challenge of passing it. We come onto this racing league to have clean racing, and if you just have guys in there that just want to get people out of their way, that's not racing. Go into rally cars or go into something that you don't have to see anybody if you don't want anyone in your way. I want to go out there. I want to be able to pass someone. I want someone when I pass them to go, man, I don't. I want them to lose their spirit when I pass them because I did it cleanly. I want to make sure that they go, man, I can't obviously beat that guy because obviously he's just got me running around in circles. So if you get into the back of a guy and he goes off in front of you, they're gonna remember that, and they're not gonna believe that you did it because you were faster truly. So that's the key. Is just going out there and showing that, hey, I'm the fastest. And every week I want to go out there and try to see if I.
obviously, mission accomplished. You make it into the round of 9, but now let's shift gears and look towards the second round. The goal now to make it into the final 4. We got an Auto Club, Iowa, and Atlanta coming up. What's the track that you're looking most forward to, and what's the track you're kind of thinking, I just want to leave here with a car in one piece?
I look at every racetrack up next to go about trying to capitalize. It's hard to really say with these. The setups are so variant, so different. The track temps, change things so much, and on sim racing compared to like if you go and you practice at a racetrack in real life, you have the temperature set in mind. You know what the temperature is going to be out for the next day. But when you have temperatures that are going to be randomized, some of these tracks like this track here temperatures will just change the whole setup. It changes the braking points, the gassing points, and to be frank, I just got a puppy. I don't have time to go out and practice. So, it's the next track. The next track, whatever the next track is, you go out, and I just want to go out and try to see if I can win. If I get into the top 4, go for a championship, fantastic. But guess what? I'm going to still go out there and try to prove that I deserve to be up front.
As one dog owner to another, I completely understand your point there. We're going to give you the opportunity here, hand the mic over to you, and give you the opportunity to do some shout outs.
Yes, thank PRM. I just joined up with them not too long ago. I'm not officially a part of the team, but they allow me to be on there. And boy, man, they have some colorful words. You learn a lot of new languages around them, but they're funny. It makes an interesting race if there's cautions out there, that's for sure. So thank them. Just thank. I usually, I don't know what my paint scheme, trading paints has been messing up a little bit, but I usually run a beautiful red, white, and blue patriotic VFW paint job. VFW means Veterans of Foreign Wars, which I'm a big supporter and member of, which is, you go out there, think of vet. It doesn't have to be a holiday. It doesn't have to be a Veterans Day. You see a vet, you think of vet, and you go about your day. So simple words to live by, but sometimes people need reminding. So thank you guys. I enjoy it. Hopefully I get to talk to you guys next week.
Sounds good. We'll hopefully talk to you next week at Auto Club. Congrats on making it into the next round.
Thank you guys.
All right, so that was Jared Campbell. Let's bring in. Yeah, how you doing? I loved how my voice changed on that third question. I was really surprised how my lips didn't move, but the question came out.
I figured since Tom had an emergency, I might as well. So let's go ahead and bring in our
Matthew Rodriguez, the super sub.
Hey,
Ethan
Tom's
Burrell in here.
Lives, though.
Yep. Hey, Ethan Burrell, Seth Cole up here in the Flatout Racing Network studio. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Obviously, the goal today was clear. If you finished in the top 15, you were going to be making it into the next round via points. But boy, you were up there on just about every single restart with a shot of possibly taking the race lead away from Lutz. Was there anything that you could have done to maybe get him like in the midway point on those restarts? Or did the two of you have something worked out where you were both trying to slot yourselves in first and second?
No, there wasn't a plan or any communication. I don't know. I felt like maybe if we were able to get a longer run going, I could maybe try to run him back down after we wore in the tires a bit. But he just ran away on those short stints. So, and I felt pretty good. The car was really tough to drive. Yeah, maybe if we got a long run, I might have been able to put something together to mount a charge at him. But he was deserving of that win. He was definitely the fastest car out there.
We saw a lot of playoff contenders get involved in some incidents during the entire course of this race. You were one of the few that did not. You had the two up there, though, that was kind of driving aggressively trying to get that win. How worrying was that, knowing that he was around you?
Yeah, I mean, most of those last few restarts were scary because the two, I knew he was. I heard from my couple teammates that he was driving in pretty hard, and just having some of those other fast guys right on my bumper every restart, like Campbell and Lytle, it was pretty stressful. But I was just focused on trying to do something to get to that 66, but just couldn't quite put it together.
I asked this to Campbell, and I'll be asking this to Lutz as well. I'm going to ask you just to kind of get in the head of the driver heading into the next round. The goal now is to make it to the Final Four at Homestead. You got Auto Club, Iowa, and Atlanta coming up. What's the track you've got circled as the one you think is going to be the one to capitalize on?
Oh, I'm pretty solid at Iowa, but I would have to say it's going to be a toss-up between Auto Club and Atlanta. I mean, I love both of those tracks. Those two tracks are way up my list. And last season we ran Auto Club or Atlanta early on, and me and Adams put on probably one of the best battles that this league's seen at Atlanta, slipping and sliding around. And I would definitely have to go with Auto Club in Atlanta.
If Matt's got any questions for you.
Oh, I'm just trying to survive the guy with the motorcycle out here. So, I do have to say, you've been pretty much the bridesmaid the entire race. I mean, how do you imagine getting up there?
I didn't really catch any of that.
I'm not sure if it's breaking up on his. Yeah, apparently it is.
I know
So
he said something about kind of being the runner up for most of that. And yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty much how it felt. You know, I was like I said, I was just hoping we'd get a long run and maybe it'd give me time enough green flag laps to figure something out to put a good charge together. But you know, Ryan was well deserving of that one. He would have had to be my pick other than myself to win that.
all right. Well, apparently with Matt's internet issues here, he's apparently on the move driving. So we're gonna take the opportunity here, hand the microphone over to you, and allow you to do some shout outs.
Yeah, I'd just like to shout out my family's always tuning in. My grandma, Aunt Judy, and my girlfriend Rachel are always watching, and all the buddies from PlayStation parties. You guys know who you are. So, and also sorry to everybody. My trading paints was giving us issues again this week, so I was probably in just that flat red and black car. But I was sad because put together a really nice looking Amazon car. So give a shout out to them. And yeah, I mean I want to win one bad. I get to keep talking to you guys, but man, I want to be in that first spot.
All right, that's Ethan Burrell. Maybe we'll be talking to you in Victory Lane next time at Auto Club. We'll see.
All right, sounds good.
All right, and last but not least, let's bring in the race winner, Ryan Lutz. Ryan, Seth Cole up here in the Flatout Racing Network studios. Got me?
Yes, sir.
Man, I mean, let's look back at like the last 4 weeks. You go back to Kansas, the runner-up finish. You go to Daytona, you had a shot to win there to get into the playoffs. Came up short there. It's got to feel like some sweet redemption here to dominate a race like Martinsville.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the road's been, man. It's been a rough one in the Xfinity series. I can tell you that.
Had basically the control of the restarts every single time, but there were some times you'd come to pit road, you do it on fresh tires, sometimes you did it on old tires. What was the difference between the older tires as opposed to the fresh tires going down to turn one?
Yeah, I honestly think our car was a little bit better on older tires. On the long run, we could really honestly roll the bottom better than we could on newer tires, which is a little surprising, but I think we found that in practice, and I knew we'd have a good shot at it. We just really needed to be that control car in the bottom on every restart to really have a shot at and take advantage of the race.
There really wasn't a whole lot of opportunity with the number of cautions we had for a lot of having to maneuver your way through traffic, but there were a couple times you had to pass some race cars. What was the difficulty in terms of being able to pass drivers that were on the tail end of the lead lap and such?
Yeah, I think it made it difficult with the setup tonight. I think it was a little bit tight entry to center, really. So I think it was tough. I think if we got behind on pit strategy or track position, I thought it would be tough to get by people. So I really made sure that I was the control car. That's why you saw me stay out a couple times, and even at the end on old tires, I think I was the only one that didn't pit there at the end. But I mean, it worked out for us. I thought we were a little bit better on older tires than everyone else on newer tires. So that's always good when you're behind the wheel.
We saw that also being out in front, not necessarily the safest spot on track. It was either the third or fourth caution. We went on board with you on a replay, that wreck that took place out of turn 4. I mean, is it a blind corner? It's coming around there to not see if there's any cars that are stopped?
Yeah, it's tough. Usually I watch a couple cars ahead, but when you're leading, man, it's just you got to have laser focus on just hitting your marks every lap. I don't think there was a corner I missed my mark once all for 125, and I think that's really what determined the win. I think I never came off the bottom one time. We were left front was glued around the yellow. When I came around there, I wasn't expecting there to be that many cars there, and I really thought our race was over there, to be honest.
Obviously, it wasn't. You go home with the checkered flag. Now, obviously, tonight you played spoiler for all the playoff drivers, but we look ahead now to the next 3 races for that round. We got Auto Club, we got Iowa, we got Atlanta. You've got the win under your belt now. What's a track that you can look at now, have that confidence, and be aggressive to maybe go for win number 2?
I think all of them we had a shot. I mean, I think every track we've had a shot except the road courses because I struggle there. But I think Auto Club, we finished second in the Cup car there earlier this year. I think Atlanta, we had the race one in the Cup car, but I made a meatball move in the last lap. But I mean, all the races I think we have a shot at. It's just putting the whole race together like I did tonight.
Definitely, you did put it together, and we're going to hand the microphone over to you here with your victory and give you the opportunity to do some shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd really like to thank Chad Frankenfield. He gave me an opportunity to come back after a couple incidents we had earlier this year, and it's been a long, hard road, man, and it feels freaking good to get this one. I don't think I've ever been pumped up to win one as much as this. I think I made a statement for us, especially for me to come back and put a whole race together and be smart and and capitalize and get a win. I also like to thank Natural Designs, Damien, everyone at Bright Lights. It's been a great team to work with. They really helped me develop as a person and a race car driver. So I just really look forward to next week and just can't thank everyone that helped me out to get here.
All right, well, go enjoy your victory. Well-deserved victory here. Domination victory at Martinsville for Ryan Lutz. I've currently put in a message to the league admin, Chad Frankenfield. Have not gotten a reply back, but as I am currently looking at the live scoring, the results are in as far as the points from Martinsville. Tate Lytle is locked in with the win. David Tooker's locked in with his win. Ethan Burrill, Frankenfield, Jared Campbell, Tyler Riggs, Kendall Noah Player. They're all locked in via points, but this is where the interesting thing is, folks, because there is a three-way tie for the 8th position between Joshua Clark, Damian Leniger, and Andrew Rucker. You can't make this stuff up. They are all tied for the 8th spot, and obviously that would be technically 8th, 9th, and 10th. So the question is, do all three move on to the next round, or is one of them out? Now, if we look in terms of how they are listed in the results of the standings, Clark currently is ahead of Leniger, who is ahead of Rucker. So my assumption is, I don't know how they come up with the who's in, who's out based off of a tiebreaker, but it would look like with the way they're listed that Rucker would be out. The only thing I'm wondering is it listed in alphabetical order with the driver's last name? So we could very well, depending on what the admin ruling is, we could have 10 drivers moving on to the next round because of that three-way tie for the 8th position. We're going to have to wait and see. Officially, we do know Stephen Mago, Jared Rexing, Rishav Khosla, and Joshua Adams, they will not be moving on to the next round. They are eliminated. But I guess we're going to have to wait and find out when we get to the upcoming race at Auto Club to find out if indeed it's going to be the round of 9 or if it may end up being the round of 10 based on what took place here this evening. But boy, I mean, to be honest, I was really surprised that Martinsville played that much of a factor into the point standings of who was in and who was out as well. You look at a track maybe like Daytona and Talladega where positions swap back and forth, a lot of passing takes place, but we saw so many of our playoff contenders get involved in wrecks. Tyler Riggs had an issue. We saw Rucker get involved in a wreck. We saw Kendall Noah Player get spun off of turn 4. Even drivers that came in locked in with wins, like David Tooker, got involved in a number of wrecks. Joshua Clark got involved in the wreck but was able to battle back. Leniger had the engine blow on him, and it looks like he may still be moving on to the next round. So Martinsville definitely played its part in the short track racing, and nobody is safe, but it also played its part into making this a very interesting finale for the first round of the playoffs. So we'll have to wait and see if we are going to have 10 drivers move on at Auto Club, but hopefully everybody enjoyed this race. It definitely did not disappoint, and Ryan Lutz with a very well-deserved victory here today at the Martinsville Speedway. And we are 3 for 3 here in the first round of the playoffs of the pole sitter taking the checkered flag. Somehow I feel next time at Auto Club that may not be the case, but then again, you never know. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this race. We will see you guys on Wednesday. That'll be our next broadcast, the Winter Classic from Christmas Miracle Speedway. It's going to be taking place Thursday night. We've got the Sim Racers for Mental Health Modified series, so be tuning in. Lots of stuff coming up here in the upcoming week. For Tom Bourne, who was here earlier, for Matthew Rodriguez, who was here for the driver interviews, I'm Seth Cole. We will see you guys next time. You've been watching a broadcast on the Flatout Racing Network.